The grass court season is supposed to be unpredictable. The bounce is lower. The points are faster. Momentum can change in seconds. And even the best players often need time to adjust. That was why many observers approached Eala's Birmingham Open clash against Mananchaya Sawangkaew with caution. On paper it looked tricky. Sawangkaew had built a reputation as a dangerous competitor, capable of disrupting rhythm and forcing opponents into uncomfortable situations. She had enough experience and confidence to make life difficult for anyone who entered the match unprepared. But from the moment the first ball was struck, something became obvious. Eala had arrived in Birmingham with a completely different mindset. She wasn't looking to survive the grass season. She was looking to dominate it. The opening games revealed that immediately. Her movement looked sharper. Her footwork appeared lighter. And perhaps most importantly, her decision-making was happening at extraordinary speed. Every time Sawangkaew attempted to establish control of a rally, Alex found a way to flip the situation. A deep return. A perfectly timed backhand. A sudden change of direction. Again and again, she forced her opponent to react rather than dictate. The crowd began noticing. Commentators began noticing. Even Sawangkaew appeared surprised by the intensity coming from the other side of the net. Because Alex wasn't simply winning points. She was winning them with authority. The first break of serve arrived quickly. The second came even faster. And with each successful game, the energy inside the stadium started changing. People who had arrived expecting a competitive battle found themselves watching a player operating at a completely different level. The most impressive aspect wasn't power. It wasn't even shot-making. It was control. Alex looked completely in command of the match. Every movement seemed purposeful. Every tactical decision looked calculated. Every point appeared to fit into a larger plan. That level of clarity is rare in professional tennis, especially for a young player still building experience on grass. Yet Alex looked like someone who had already solved the puzzle. One rally midway through the first set perfectly captured the mood of the afternoon. Sawangkaew hit an excellent approach shot and moved confidently toward the net. The point looked over. The crowd expected a winner. Instead, Alex sprinted wide, stretched impossibly, and produced a passing shot that curved around her opponent and landed directly on the sideline. The stadium gasped. Then erupted. Even Sawangkaew paused for a moment. Because there are shots that win points. And then there are shots that steal belief. That one did both. As the first set progressed, Alex's confidence continued growing. Her serve became increasingly effective. Her returns consistently applied pressure. And every time Sawangkaew attempted to generate momentum, Alex immediately shut the door. The scoreboard began reflecting what everyone was seeing. This wasn't becoming a contest. It was becoming a statement. A statement about form. A statement about confidence. And perhaps most importantly, a statement about where Eala currently stands in women's tennis. The first set ended with loud applause from every corner of the venue. Fans weren't reacting only to the scoreline. They were reacting to the quality. Because Birmingham had witnessed something special. A young player stepping onto the court with complete conviction and refusing to let go of control. As Alex walked toward her chair, she remained calm. No celebration. No dramatic reaction. No signs of satisfaction. Instead, she looked focused. The expression on her face suggested one thing. The job wasn't finished. And that realization should have worried everyone else in the draw. Because if this was Eala's level while settling into a match, what would happen once she found her absolute best tennis? The answer was about to leave Birmingham stunned. If Mananchaya Sawangkaew hoped the second set would bring a fresh start, the opening games quickly destroyed that idea. Because Eala returned to the court looking even stronger than she had in the first set. That is often what separates dangerous players from ordinary ones. Most athletes relax after gaining an advantage. The elite become even more aggressive. And Alex looked determined to finish the match on her own terms. The second set began with longer rallies. Sawangkaew increased her intensity. She attacked earlier, took bigger risks, and attempted to force Alex into uncomfortable positions. For a brief period, the strategy showed signs of success. Games became tighter. Points became longer. The crowd sensed a possible shift. After all, momentum in tennis is fragile. One break can change everything. One lapse in concentration can reopen a match. But whenever that possibility appeared, Alex produced her best tennis. At 2-1, facing pressure on serve, she delivered consecutive winners. At 3-2, she escaped a difficult game with fearless shot-making. At 4-2, she produced one of the highlights of the tournament. A rally stretched beyond 20 shots. Both players chased every ball, neither willing to surrender. Then Alex suddenly stepped inside the baseline and unleashed a backhand down the line that left the crowd speechless. The shot landed inches inside the corner. Perfect. For a split second, nobody reacted. People simply stared. Then the applause exploded across the stadium. Commentators immediately called it one of the best shots of the week. And social media clips began spreading almost instantly. But beyond the highlight itself, the point carried a deeper meaning. It showed complete confidence. The confidence to attack under pressure. The confidence to trust your instincts. The confidence to take risks when most players choose safety. That confidence was becoming the story of the match. Because Sawangkaew wasn't playing poorly. She continued competing hard. She continued searching for solutions. She continued fighting for every point. Yet the gap kept growing. Not because of mistakes, but because Alex refused to let her back into the contest. Every successful game from Eala seemed to drain a little more hope from the other side of the net. The crowd could feel it. The commentators could see it. The match was slowly transforming into a showcase. A showcase of how far Alex's game had developed. A showcase of how comfortable she looked on grass. And a showcase of why so many people were beginning to view her as one of the most exciting young players in the sport. As the finish line approached, anticipation grew. Fans started standing during key points. Phones appeared throughout the stadium. Everyone wanted to capture the moment. Because performances like this don't happen every day. And when they do, people remember them. They remember where they were. They remember the atmosphere. They remember the feeling that something important was happening in real time. Eala was creating that feeling. Point after point. Game after game. And Birmingham was responding. When the final point arrived, it felt inevitable. Not because Mananchaya Sawangkaew had stopped fighting. She never did. But because Eala had spent the entire afternoon proving she was the better player. One final rally. One final exchange. Then a clean winner. Match over. The crowd rose immediately. Applause echoed around the venue. Fans celebrated. Commentators praised the performance. And social media instantly filled with reactions from viewers who had just witnessed one of Alex's most complete displays of the season. What made the victory special wasn't simply the result. It was the manner in which it happened. From the opening game to the final point, Alex played with authority. She controlled the pace, managed pressure, created opportunities, and executed when it mattered most. Those qualities matter more than any single scoreline. Because they reveal something about a player's trajectory. And right now, Eala's trajectory appears to be moving only in one direction. Upward. Every tournament seems to bring new confidence. Every challenge seems to produce new growth. And every performance adds another layer to a story that is becoming harder and harder for the tennis world to ignore. The Birmingham crowd arrived expecting a good match. Instead, they witnessed a statement. A statement from a player who looks increasingly comfortable on big stages. A statement from a competitor who appears ready for larger opportunities. And a statement that sent a clear message to the rest of the tournament. Eala is not here simply to participate. She is here to win. As the grass court season continues and attention around her career grows, performances like this will only increase expectations. But based on what Birmingham witnessed, that pressure may not be a problem. In fact, it may be exactly where Eala performs her best. And if this match was any indication, the most exciting chapters of her journey may still be ahead. As Birmingham fades into the rearview mirror and the grass court season accelerates toward Wimbledon, one thing has become impossible to ignore. Eala looks ready. Not ready in the way young players are often described when they show flashes of talent. Ready in the way elite competitors look when confidence, experience and opportunity begin aligning at exactly the right moment. Throughout Birmingham, Eala displayed the qualities that coaches and champions value most. She handled pressure without panic. She adapted to the unique demands of grass courts. And perhaps most importantly, she competed with the belief of someone who expects to win rather than simply hopes to. That mental shift changes everything. Because Wimbledon has never been a tournament that rewards uncertainty. The grass is fast. The margins are small. The pressure is enormous. Players who hesitate rarely survive for long. Yet match after match, Alex showed increasing comfort on the surface. Her movement looked sharper. Her shot selection appeared more decisive. Her serve carried greater confidence. Even when difficult moments arrived, she refused to allow momentum to slip away for long. Those are not just signs of good form. They are signs of growth. And growth is exactly what makes her such a dangerous player heading into London. The rankings may tell one story. The draw may tell another. But sometimes the most important indicator is the feeling surrounding a player. Right now, there is a growing sense that Eala is entering Wimbledon with genuine momentum. Not hype. Momentum. The kind that comes from hard-earned victories, lessons learned from tough defeats, and months of steady improvement against world-class opposition. Of course, Wimbledon presents an entirely different challenge. The world's best players will be waiting. Every match will feel bigger. Every point will matter more. But for perhaps the first time in her young career, Eala arrives not as a surprise story or an exciting prospect. She arrives as a player many opponents will be watching carefully. A player capable of creating problems. A player capable of producing unforgettable moments. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from Birmingham. The tournament wasn't simply another stop on the calendar. It felt like preparation for something larger. A glimpse of what could be coming next. Because when Wimbledon begins, Eala won't just be carrying the hopes of Filipino fans around the world. She'll be carrying the confidence of a player who has proven she belongs on this stage. And if Birmingham was any indication, the tennis world should be paying very close attention.